You sure you know what you're doing? Seems like a lot more than the usual translocationary whatchamacallit.
It is. But the principles remain the same. Just a longer equation, really.
Look, just 'cause I never calculatrice my magic, don't mean I don't understand that longer means more harder. I mean, the incantation alone. It'd be easier to form a tabernacle choir with the street sweeper gang and teach 'em a rhyming verse in harmonized rounds.
While you are not wrong, it is the wrong anecdote. I liken it more to stringing suffixes and prefixes to the world's longest compound word and still making sure it's sensible.
Yeah, sensible in all the world's languages in a single articulation.
Articulation. Besides, you're hardly one to talk. The one with unstudied and wildly innate power, who can barely form the common tongue outside your own native.
Look, all I'm saying is I'm not an idiot. I can read what you've got here, and me gut tells me it's risky. And I always trust me gut.
Not the most reliable source, your gut, is it? Look, I will hardly be the first person to pull this off. Do not let its rarity cloud your judgment in the same way your gut clouds the tent each night. Now, are you going to sit quiet and let me concentrate on this, or not?
Yeah, all right.
9 minutes later.
What do you mean I cloud the tent?
Hey there, creatures, and welcome to Encounter This, a podcast exploration of the creatures from Pathfinder 2nd Edition and the lore that surrounds them. Hello there, creatures, and welcome to another episode of Encounter This, our first one of the year 2024. Thank you so much for bearing with us for our January off, and we are so excited to be back and do this show for you again. I am, of course, your host, James Unstable Kid, which is a very interesting nickname.
It sure is.
for a myriad of reasons, private and public. I don't know if we'll touch on the private one, but I don't know if you know this story about me being known specifically as Stable James.
No.
When there was another unstable James. So.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
It's just a coincidence.
Yeah. So we. Yeah.
We also used to work in a restaurant called Stable House, and I used to have a running joke where I had the Knights of the Stable Table, and I would be nicknaming people around the restaurant.
So it was one of our local watering holes. The servers there was another James who was pretty unstable, so they called him Unstable James. And since I worked at the Stable House, I was Stable James.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah. I only remember the two of the nicknames I came up with, and it was our friend Kevin, who was a tall ginger lad, and I called him Sir Ginger the Soulless. And then there was a kid named Henry, and I remember calling him Sir Henri Gerard the Cowardly, and he hated it.
For obvious reasons, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just
and for the uninitiated, my co-host is Freeman Do the Twist Easton.
That's me. Do that twist. Chubby checker, everyone.
Shake it up, baby, now. Shake it up, baby. Twist and shout. I don't do
Twist
a very
and
good
shout. Good tune.
More of a Ringo. Just stay silent and in the back.
Yeah.
And today we are going to be looking at the Amalgamite on page 14 of Bestiary 3, because at some point we should jump into this episode.
Yeah, I suppose so. That was a quick early tangent.
Yeah, right.
They're bound to happen. Yes, the Amalgamite. I almost didn't pick this creature. I picked it literally this morning. I knew I didn't have time to write a complicated one, or like, one with deep mythology, I should say. So surprise, surprise, there won't be any real world mythology here. But I've gone ahead and got a pop culture section in, the rare one from me. And I almost didn't pick it though, because, as far as our current projections go, it could change. We have some aberrations lined up. This creature's an aberration, but it's an aberration in a very, very different way than the usual. So once I got reading it, I thought, I'm going to go for it anyway. I know we don't try not to double up or triple up or quadruple up too much on the same creature type, but ultimately it is so very different than what we've covered before as far as aberrations go that I think it's totally worth doing. And it is a fun creature. We're going to have a crazy discussion at the end, I think.
I don't know what the balance is like in 2E, but I feel like the first time I look at every creature, if I read a title of a creature and I think, oh shit, that's interesting, and I go to the creature, 100% of the time it's an aberration.
I was actually thinking the same thing today. I am so, like, you've always been an undead buff, and I've kind of liked this little spread of things, but I gravitate towards Pathfinder aberrations so much. I just scroll through the bestiaries and I'm like, that's a cool creature. Wow, that's so cool. Look at it's all warped it is. And it's an aberration. Of course it is. I just can't help myself. Aberrations are so cool. And they're so varied, right? And I think it's because, like we've talked about many, many times, aberration in effect when these games really just mean alien. They mean not properly of this world. It's something unnatural to the planet we're on, at the very least, for Galarian or what have you, or Abertoral, what doesn't matter. So it's just like alien in nature is how I always interpret it, and that has just such a widespread, just an incredibly widespread of variety. So, which is why I was surprised, but also not surprised. This aberration was a really cool seeming exception to the rule. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Amalgamite. We'll talk about the appearance, which is a jumbled mishmash of limbs and appendages. Still got a face, I presume most of the time, but there's also extra parts. There's a reason I say that is because they're basically these warped shapes of whatever they're created from. That and the shape shifts and it morphs and it regrows all the time. So you're literally talking about, like, arms and legs in the wrong places and possibly extra ones kind of protruding, but they're not always there every time. And this actually translates into like a proper regeneration and some resistances from the creature because it's just shifting all the time. It's anatomy. And also weaknesses, and particularly a weakness to piercing. I know it sounds like I'm jumping ahead of it, but it's part of the lore, and that the damage that pierces through into the core, the quote unquote core of the creature, of its anatomy, is the one thing that really bypasses its strangeness when it comes to like damage and having some sort of vulnerability. So there is makes me assume that there's a core to the creature, that sort of middle spot of this thing that actually maybe doesn't morph as much. It is a little more static, and maybe that's where the heart is, and maybe that's where this is, and maybe that's where it is just more vulnerable. So you have to pierce through into that spot. Now, what transforms this creature? Okay, we'll get to it. But what's important is that it transforms body and mind into some sort of aberrant shape. So this creature doesn't start as an aberration. It is morphed by something into aberrance. And despite the appearance that we have of the artwork, it is not considered humanoid. And I think now is the proper time to put that artwork up if you can, James.
Okay, yeah. I'm also going to fix my window because it's bugging the shit out of me.
Okay, sure.
Go for it. I got you. You can keep going. I don't want to distract from the listeners.
Yeah.
But
despite the image here, you can see it's still not designated as humanoid. It is very misshapen. It is all over the place. One of its legs has gone up to where its arm ought to be, and there is no torso, or at least there's a small one maybe that leads down to the other leg. It is just, you can imagine this thing is just moving and changing on the regular, reforming in some ways, and even protruding new limbs. But the extra parts that these extra limbs that might appear, these extra pieces, come from the fact that it is kind of partially formed by multiple versions of itself, of the same creature. It is not just one that's mixed up. It is multiple versions of the same thing that is constantly in and out of like phase, I guess. And because of this part as well, because of, you know, this sort of multiple versions of itself mixed in as an amalgamation, as you will, if you will, the Amalgamite. It is has only the vaguest memories of its former self. It is that mind and body has really gone into that aberrant stage, and it is mostly beyond its original self. So you might wonder, what caused this? what is the hurdle to create this thing?
In a fantasy universe, I am fucking dying to know what created this thing.
It is through the very difficult undertaking, and even through the smallest mistake of trying to operate powerful teleportation magic. So
some Cronenberg shit is what you're getting at.
Exactly. You are trying to do some sort of teleportation magic, and that teleportation magic, and especially the most powerful kinds, require detailed knowledge of the location you're going. They require meticulous calculations. They require incredible control over the magic that you are trying to control and influence and you know, to create this teleportation effect. And even the best can fuck it up. You know, so the simplest oversight or just a silly bit of ignorance can just spell disaster in these moments. And the tiniest mistake in these castings can result in this, basically. And that is why there's these multiple versions of the same person, because it is a version from where you started and the version where you were meant to end, and possibly something in between. It basically completely turns you into a strange, aberrant amalgamation, practically wipes your memory, turns you into something, you know, crazy and powerful, and you have this magical residue from the effect that radiates from you now when you become this Amalgamite. This messed up magic is emanating out of you. Which then destabilizes living creatures that are around you, that come near you. And then that destabilization that radiates out from you then catches on like an infection. It spreads out from them, which can have this ripple effect where this destabilization is across the battlefield or across a group of people. And then that allows the Amalgamite to start causing teleportation effects to all of those who are in effect destabilized by its magical residue. And then you can find yourself suddenly in harm's way, like next to a trap that you weren't just next to, or you could find yourself suddenly face to face with an enemy who was across the battlefield, or you could find yourself suddenly face to face with the Amalgamite, you know, or it suddenly appears next to the healer when it wasn't there, flailing its twisted, weird limbs at their face. You know, it is an insane creature. And I hope you can see by now why it's not your typical aberration.
yeah I really like that it's like the chronology of its existence twists it in and shapes it physically as it would mentally. For our audio listeners, this creature is it is very difficult to explain. At one point it was very clearly a bipedal humanoid. Mm-hmm. It is no longer that.
You could kind of, in a way, you could just imagine the iconic wizard, the Pathfinder iconic Ezrin, you know, is very similar. He's got like a blue cloak on. This guy, I think it looks like he's probably a wizard. He fucked up the teleportation spell or something, or the ritual, and just went ahead and got himself all warped into a weird shape. He's still got his feet, he's still got his arms, he's still got his face, but the hair, none of them are in the right place.
Yeah, it's wild. I really like this artwork for a number of reasons, and I as you were talking, I had a couple of things to add to the pop culture section because as you kept going down that list, I was like, oh, okay. One of the things I'm not gonna, yeah. One of the things I'm not gonna be able to touch on is there's this specific faction in Warhammer 40k designed around the magic of change. It's called Tzeentch. It's one of the factions that I play. So I play Chaos Space Marines and Chaos Knights in Age of Sigmar, and I have a Tzeentch faction. And the idea is that they're these all-powerful sorcerers, but their magic stems from the concept of change. And a lot of their characters wear blue robes and have 2 arms on the same side.
No way.
Yeah, so look up the Changeling, listeners, because I won't be able to find a picture of it, and I won't be able to pull my model out.
Yeah, sure.
Or the Change Caster. Just Tzeentch. There's a T in front of it, but I'll make sure we throw some links in the show notes over on the blog.
In the show notes, yeah.
Yeah, everything about this is just calling my name because this is out of the 4 demons. This is my shit. The magic of change.
I was actually shocked how much I got excited about this creature when I started really getting through it in the stat block, and here's the next part. There's the last bit of lore we have. It's not much lore. The last bit of lore we have, it's really started that excitement, and it's because there's a little sidebar that talks about the Amalgamite and where it's found. It's usually found in the company of others. It is not a standalone creature that you fight. It is usually with lesser aberrations, possibly dark tapestry cultists. My favorite part is that it's maybe surrounded by undead corpses of its former party members, such as they all died from the teleportation being fucked up, but only this one survived. And is now sort of leading its undead companions around. And it has a little undead retinue. And what's cool about this fact that they are always have a company, they're in the company of others, is that these allies will serve to spread the destabilization that I talked about across the battlefield to make it more deadly. And of course, we'll get into the mechanics of that. But yeah, it's wild. It's really, really cool.
Unless this creature goes back to first edition D&D, it is 100% inspired by the Changeling in
yeah. Okay, cool.
100%.
That's amazing.
I didn't come across there was a retinue, like a unit in Age of Sigmar and 40k called the Dark Cultists. Like that was their retinue. Their command squad. And the Changeling has this ability called Deep Strike, where it just starts in your opponent's side of the battlefield and just fucks shit up. There's like almost 0 attacks. It's all like, your attacks go in this direction now, or you can't see this now. And like their whole thing is they just appear in the enemy lines and they just magic them so they don't see properly. Like
that's cool. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, so I mean, that's awesome because there is no 1E lore. This is a brand new creature to 2E, so you're probably right. It must be very directly inspired by. But let's get into some pop culture because there is no, as far as I could find, any lore mythology around teleportation being fucked up. I think I just ended up Googling teleportation gone wrong and then seeing what popped up, right? And I found a really interesting article that was written as if everything was true. But it's from like science.howthingsaremade.com or something like that. It's like it was just like a kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of article, and it covers some of the more famous events in pop culture that had things go wrong with effective teleportation or effective travel, I guess, like fast travel. So one of the biggest ones, and I'm sure it's come up on the show already at some point, is The Fly. The very famous film series, the most famous one being the David Cronenberg remake with Jeff Goldblum. You called it earlier. It's Cronenberg. And I've actually never seen the film. I've heard it's amazing, but I've never seen it. And but I didn't realize that it was actually a teleportation experiment that went wrong. I didn't realize it was that.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's weird to me because you're a big Simpsons guy, if I'm not mistaken. And there's a
I'm not. No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not. I'm a Futurama guy.
Oh, okay.
Just like you.
That must be Duncan living rent free in my brain.
Definitely Duncan. 100%. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, I had no idea that was what kind of experiment was happening that went wrong. I didn't realize that, but I thought it was pretty cool. New little fun
It's a
fact.
good movie. It's a classic.
Makes me want to watch the film now. Yeah.
I think 2 and 3 aren't very. I don't remember those too well, but you know, it was the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, and it was a remake too, right? The films were back in like 54 or something like that. I think it was, or I can't remember exactly, but I was looking at it earlier. But there was 3 films before the Jeff Goldblum one. Even.
Oh, I didn't know there was 3. There was a Vincent
3
Price one, wasn't there?
I don't recall who was in it, to be honest, but I think after the Jeff Goldblum one, there was a sequel after that one at least.
Yeah.
So I think there's 5 in total, but yeah, there was 3 before.
I think there was 2 sequels to Jeff Goldblum one, but I could be confusing that with Darkman. They're equally bad.
Sure. Equally deliciously bad.
The first ones are incredible, like the opening volleys in the series, just magic, lightning in a bottle, but just off a cliff from there. But this is a great side-by-side image you've pulled up here. I've never
just found out on Google.
Seen the
this
fly
is great.
in 1080p.
Yeah. Seriously. The detail though. Damn.
Yeah.
The other one I had is it's less teleportation, but it's still very it definitely is, but it's very reminiscent of something that we find in Galarian, which is the Iodara, the Elf Gates. And it is from a book series more or less called the Hyperion Cantos by Dan Simmons.
Oh yeah.
In which there were these gateways that connected planets. And what I kind of loved about these gateways, and you can see the image here if you want to switch it over, is that they were just walkable through, and like rivers would literally just run through them from planet to planet, kind of sharing the biome and stuff, which is really, really kind of wild and strange. So people pass through them casually all the time. So was it teleportation per se? Kind of, but it is like this connection of 2 points at vast distances. However, in the series, apparently at some point, the network crashes and it cuts everything off and everyone off from the other sides. But that also included thousands of people that were using them at the time, in which case they lost limbs, they lost half their bodies, just sliced in half, and then a lot of them even just vanished into oblivion, never to be seen again. Wow. So that's a poor outcome, which was the theme I was going for, the things that have gone wrong, which is awesome. My next one, we don't have an image for the next one, but it's probably one of my favorites. It's called the Philadelphia Experiment. Have you heard of this? It's a conspiracy theory.
No,
also
I
a
love
film.
Conspiracy theories, but I can't engage with them on the internet. Like I love hearing them.
I agree.
I love reading about them, but until I find a YouTuber who can just like force feed it to me in a fun way, you know, like H Bomber Guy or Eons of Battle or something like that. Like I need somebody who can do it for me. Fun. Yep. Sure. Most of the people presenting conspiracy theories are the worst.
Right. Well, I'll briefly go through this. I'll make it as fun as I can. I didn't really dive into it, but it is hilarious. It's called the Philadelphia Experiment. There's also a 1984 film about it. And it is apparently the U.S. Navy was apparently trying to make a Navy destroyer invisible, and they accidentally teleported it. The USS Eldridge was teleported from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to Norfolk, Virginia, by mistake.
There was a hot second there where I was like, this doesn't sound like a conspiracy. The U.S. has legitimately been trying to make shit invisible for 170 years.
Right. And this happened in 1943, supposedly. And apparently a lot of the crew, when, quote, re-entering physical reality, were found half buried in the ship's bulkheads.
Oh, that's horrifying.
So there's your
real carbonate.
There's your downside. Right. Yeah. But I find that fascinating that people actually believe that happened. There's someone out there actually believes that a Navy destroyer was teleported from Pennsylvania to Virginia by mistake.
I bet you if it did happen, Heinlein was involved.
The article I was reading, the cheekiest comment, it was like, it's akin to trying to find a cure for the common cold and accidentally finding the cure for cancer. Like it's ridiculous.
Most of those stories are like, we tried to make space shuttle glue and came up with Post-it notes. Like it's still really good, but nowhere near.
But it's way the other direction.
Yeah, exactly.
Now there is something to be said. If I don't quote me on this, but if I recall correctly, like research and whatnot that goes into space exploration does result in some pretty incredible things, such as the MRI machine. If I recall correctly, the MRI machine is a result of trying, experimenting, and researching for space exploration, and it has saved many lives. And it's a pretty incredible thing. But you're also right. Like, it's usually the other way. It's usually
it's still really useful, but not even in the same vein. Like, not a different close. Sport.
Yeah. So good. There is, of course, the famous film Event Horizon, which is a bit of a cult classic that some people tend to love. I highly recommend anyone who does love it or has never seen it to actually just go listen to Red Letter Media's take on it. They tear it apart in the funniest way. It is really funny. Because there's just so many bad things about it, but people still love it, and it's like that's what makes it cult classic.
I love it. I think it's great.
But yeah, I highly recommend. But yeah, that Event Horizon, the story was that it basically had this experimental gravity drive that was meant to link 2 points in space-time together, creating some sort of artificial black hole. And then the spoiler alert, everyone, they accidentally tear open a gate to hell instead. So
that's
becomes hell. Is
also
real.
The plot of Doom, listeners.
Yeah, that's right. It
the
is
original 1993 Doom.
I forgot about that. Oh god, so good. There's also a short story by Stephen King called The Jaunt, where humanity finds a method of teleportation known as jaunting. It's not the only one they end up finding, I guess, but there's it's called like the Carthoon process or something like that. But there's only one problem with this process, and it's that any conscious living creature can't survive the process properly. Even though the jaunt itself only lasts 0.000000000067 seconds. I think I got that right. Even though it only lasts that amount of time, if a mind is conscious during the jaunt, it perceives the jaunt as an unfathomable amount of years. So the result either ends in death or insanity. And the idea was that like you could transfer goods through no problem. You can just knock people out, put them on a gurney, and send them through, no issues. If you were conscious at all, you were dead or insane if you traveled through. And there was even a little tidbit that was really gruesome in that there was like this 12-year-old boy who thought he was being cheeky and just held his breath and pretended to be asleep. And then he came out the other side insane and white, covered in white. All his hair turned white, and he was babbling like nonsense. It was dark shit. But yeah, that's a pretty intense downside to teleportation, I would say. There is a whole bunch of Star Trek ones, to no one's surprise. I found a long list. Actually, no, I'm going to save those for the end because it's Star Trek. Everyone knows about Star Trek. I feel like we save it at the end because I feel like you're going to have some stuff in there. What I do have next is Futurama. Let's go back. Let's touch on that.
The Dixie
there
Chicks.
You go. This is an honorable mention in the article I found where the Dixie Chicks in the year 3008 were part of a teleportation accident and became an amorphous blob where they could actually absorb other organisms, which was presumed to be a way of sustenance or new feeding for them. And they were supposed to be in like constant, tremendous pain, but they still had a great career continuation.
Didn't they absorb one of the announcers in that episode? Is that the Blaine's Ball episode?
They did, yeah.
Oh no, it's
so
the Demolition
ridiculous.
Derby. You can see the ships in the back.
Oh, that's right. It is. Oh, my God. Oh, so funny. But yeah, they managed to continue a successful career regardless. There's also a quick fun one from Spaceballs, 1987 film, where Mel Brooks plays President Scroob, who teleports he's just being lazy. Teleports from one room to the next, apparently, and then arrives with his head on backwards. So that's his butt in the front.
Right. You can't tell from this picture, but if you've never seen the movie, they like actually pad it out like way bigger than Mel Brooks's actual butt.
Oh, wait, yeah, very much so. Yeah. It's a good visual gag. It's just so silly. But I just love that he was like, oh, he was just going from one room to the next, didn't bother walking, and that's what he got. Oh, the joke is so good. But yeah, I'm overdue. But Star Trek. Let's touch on Star Trek now. So transporters. Is it called a transporter in Star Trek? Transporter. Yeah. So there was a whole bunch of these, which I mean, famously, I believe the transporter is like it's believed to kill you and then rematerialize you with data. So like you're maybe supposed to have died every time. It's a big kind of conversation piece, right?
That's a philosophy think tank. I believe I love Star Trek, but I'm not like a Star Trek guy.
Sure.
As much as I want to be. I believe the way it works is it breaks you down molecule by molecule and then reassembles you molecule by molecule.
Okay.
Very similar to Jake TV from Willy Wonka.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I believe that's how it works. Please correct me in the comments or shoot us an email or what have you. But
yeah, well, I did skim some stuff about saying how like you're killed and recreated or some such, but not really the topic at hand here. Mostly it's like the things that have gone wrong during these transporter events. And I actually love I love the terminology that Star Trek kind of unabashedly uses to describe events. Like tachyon shit, right? Like tachyons are just this universal thing that just fit into whatever you need it to. So the very first thing that ever went wrong on Star Trek was actually in the first season of the original series. And there was like a magnetic ore in the transporter with Kirk, and it split him into an evil and a good Kirk, basically, because of, I don't know, magnets or something like that. So something
it was the polarity of the ore or some shit like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. There was one in where Commander Riker was accidentally cloned when a transporter was affected by a energy distortion field. This is where I love. And the clone was accidentally left behind on a remote planet for 8 years.
Definitely not that far yet, but that's awesome.
Apparently, it's also experience before he's on the Enterprise. It happened, and then they eventually find the planet and discover this other Riker. And there are just two Rikers. They exist. They just go and live separate lives. It's wild.
Huh.
Yeah, that's what I got from it anyway. There was also a minor glitch in the molecular image scanners that caused the logical Tuvok and the compassionate Neelix to fuse into one being alongside a strange orchid with unique symbiotic properties to form Tuvix. Apparently, the outcome of this episode still causes fiery debates about moral dilemmas because the whole thing was about whether or not this is Janeway, so this is after Enterprise, right?
No, I think Janeway is Enterprise.
Oh, is it? Well, but it's after Next Generation, I say, the series. I think it's the next one. I don't remember. I'm also not a Trekkie.
The next one's Voyager. I don't fucking know.
I mean, I think it's
I'm gonna get eaten alive. Dave, don't let me.
Regardless, apparently there's a lot of fiery debate about the morals of this episode because it was something to do with whether or not the captain was loyally committed to the two crew members versus the one that's fused together. And there's some moral dilemma with like whether or not the doctors would assist based on harming. I didn't get into the details about harming a patient or something like that. But apparently it's a pretty fiery one, so it might be worth going down the rabbit hole when you get there if you ever do.
Yeah, I just checked. It is Voyager, just because I don't want to get torn apart. And Voyager's next. I'm almost halfway through next gen.
Cool. There is apparently one very silly episode that's not well regarded, but was at least fun, where Picard and a few others accidentally reappeared in the transporter as children.
Not a great episode.
There is an episode where the whole crew of a ship got stuck inside the transporter's pattern buffer. Whatever that is. I love these. And this one Lieutenant Barclay saw them when he was in the beam or some such, and everyone thought he was hallucinating and teased him and didn't take him seriously, but he managed to persist through and actually save this entire crew of people that were stuck in the pattern buffer. There was also an ion storm that once caused the transporter to swap Kirk, Uhura, McCoy, and Scotty with their mirror universe counterparts. Which I guess was a pretty cool episode too, where there was like the ones that they swapped with were kind of savage and didn't that was how they were it was described to me when I was reading it, and they didn't fit into this civilized kind of world, and then but the civilized ones fit into the savage world. Something.
Yeah, I believe this is the trope where your evil counterpart has a goatee. I believe this is the episode.
Oh, is it?
That trope comes from.
That's amazing. And the last one I have is from Deep Space Nine. I did double check it, and it is a temporal surge sent the crew to land on Earth, which was intended, but it accidentally sent them to the year 2024, which would be in the past for the setting. And apparently this episode is a rather poignant two-parter about unhoused people, economy disparity, racism, and injustice that still is prominent to today. So apparently it's a pretty wild two-parter that's like, yeah, kind of hits the feels. Wow. Yeah.
I mean,
because the Star Trek kind of setting has this utopian aspect to it of like, you know, right, of everyone being understanding, and there is no prejudice and stuff.
Yeah. Third season of Picard played with those themes, and I hate that I'm going to use this, but I don't know how better to explain it. Mm-hmm. We are so bad at taking care of each other that these are just evergreen issues. These issues have been around since the 1800s.
Since forever. Yeah.
Unhousing, economic disparity, racism, injustice. These are not new issues. Mm-hmm. They will not be new issues in 20 years when we're still talking about it, and they will not be new issues in 100 years when we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
But
as long as we keep talking about it, I guess. Can't stop talking about it. Otherwise, nothing will be done. But
we can't push on to the lower decks.
I did come across this image, but I didn't really look at it or know what was going on. So I'm glad James found this last minute. I'm glad you did. Please tell.
Okay, so I've been most of my Star Trek watching is I've been watching the original stuff chronologically, slowly. I watch about an episode a week, 2 episodes a week, just because I kind of like that pace. It's not overwhelming, but it does put me on about a 7-year timeline to finish Star Trek. So I've been watching Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks as they've been coming out, except for the last couple of seasons. But this is from, I think, season 2 of Lower Decks. And what happens is there is a teleporter malfunction. I can't remember what, but this is Brad Boimler, played by Jack Quaid. And he goes out of sync. So he's like constantly phasing in and out of reality. And that's why he's got this ghostial appearance. Okay. But he also emits this like almost like a caterwaul, like just this annoying shrieking sound. So it's very hard to be anywhere around him. And they eventually send him to like this get well retreat where people who have had teleporter accidents and accidents in Starfleet, the concept is they all just get pushed to this one like rehab planet, and it's never talked about in Starfleet. It's done really ominously.
That's where the utopia crumbles, isn't it? They just shove it inside.
except it doesn't. They rug pull you at the very end. It's so good.
Is it?
You would love Lower Decks. Yeah, you would absolutely love this show. It's so fun. They're 30-minute episodes.
Cool.
It is about that shitty underbelly. Like the bridge crews in these shows, but it's about the people who work on the ship around them, and this kind of shit happens all the time. They make a Clippy that goes deadly and tries to kill everybody. Like it's you'd love it. It's amazing. Really fun.
Cool. I'm into it.
But some of the stuff you touched on first in the episode really got my brain working, and the first of that is this. So you initially talked about their genetic makeup constantly refreshing so that they're always healing. That is Deadpool's superpower. That is his only superpower, is that his cells are constantly regrowing. So it made me think of that. But then immediately...
is his fourth wall breaking a superpower?
It's not a superpower. It is actually a symptom of him going mentally insane. So initially, Deadpool had one thought bubble. It was white. And then later on in the late... want to say the late 90s. He got a yellow one. And
Mhm.
his yellow one was the fracturing of self, and that was the third wall breaking.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then he eventually got a third one, which I think was just the concept of death in his head at all
Okay.
times.
All right. That's wild.
One of the weird love triangles of the Marvel universe is that there is an entity known as Death, very similar to the DC universe, who's in
Mhm.
love with Wade Wilson because she can never have him.
Okay.
Wade is in love with himself, but Thanos is courting Death. So the reason
Oh.
in the comics, the reason Thanos does the snap, the Infinity War, is to get Death's attention. He kills half the beings in the universe to impress a girl.
Oh, that's why he's doing it. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool.
But to take the next logical leap, because I'm a 90s comics fan first and foremost, there is this. I don't know if you're familiar with this at all.
Is this Batman Wolverine crossover?
It is, yeah. So there was a very small period of time where DC put out a bunch of books called the Amalgam Universe,
Mhm.
and they took a bunch of characters and just smashed them together. This is, I think it's called Dark Claw or Death Claw.
Okay.
And it's this combination of Wolverine and Batman, and it's the most visceral, like it's the most obvious when you look at it. So that's the one I grabbed. But there's a whole slew and like a couple of trade crossovers. Like it's quite a bit, and the universe is called the Amalgam.
Okay, cool. So you've gone with the amalgam theme there as opposed to the teleportation. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Teleportation, like there's stuff around, obviously, like, you know, we talked about Star Trek and Doom and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even technically the third season of Picard, I think they ramp up the porter, and that's how they go back in time.
Everything I found today, and it was so easy to find. There were so many things, and I just went with the ones that were like, okay, that's obvious, that people know that's a famous one, and I quickly picked the list. The list could go much longer. It really could. In Star Trek alone, it could go much longer, I'm sure. You know, it's a very common thing to keep touching on, but
but I mean, you got the ones that jump to my mind initially, like Fly obviously jumps there. The Treehouse of Horror episode, that's just a riff on the Fly, jumps there.
Yeah.
You know, Star Trek, that Futurama episode was the first thing that came to my mind, was the amalgamation of the Dixie Chicks.
So funny. Well, that's all I got. That's all I got for lore on the old Pappy culture. What do you say we do some mechanics?
Done.
I'm excited.
Mechanics. Probably should have hit this button earlier.
I am actually definitely excited for this. Do you want to guess what CR's creature might be?
First guess is low, but obviously that doesn't feel right because it's teleportation magic. So
give me a range you think it's in.
My initial guess is 1 to 3 because it's a humanoid that's clearly broken and warped like a pretzel. But after, you know, hearing more about it, I think 4 to 6.
Okay. Just so you know, there is a load of things with teleportation trait attached to it. Like a lot of things. There are many spells, there are feats, there are focus spells, there's equipment, there's all kinds of stuff. So teleportation spreads pretty widely. I mean, because, you know, Dimension Door is not a terribly high level spell. We're looking at, I guess we're calling it rank now. I keep trying to remember myself.
Yeah,
it's a rank 4 spell. You know, there are really much higher ones as well. Of course, like Maze would fall into there. And there's even one. It's a level 3 spell called Dive and Breach, which was released in Rage of Elements not long ago, or I guess last summer. So there's a pretty wide range of power in there, but you are still too low because this is a level 13 creature.
Okay.
And yep. And which really gets my mind going of the possibilities of just how the amount of possibilities its posse could be, because you're looking at just like a massive range of levels. But yeah, level 13, AC of 33. I kind of love this because as we get through this, we're going to realize that it's not built in the stat block per se, but based on the lore, you can kind of make this out of anyone, right? So the picture we have is clearly a human wizard or some such. but there's no reason why it would have to be human every time. So some of these things are definitely flexible, right? But I love that it's like a human wizard might suddenly just be transformed to this creature that kind of remorphs itself and now has an AC of 33. There's pretty much no way it would have had that. Probably at level 13, right? So it's suddenly amped up there. It's got 220 HP, so it's suddenly become this like kind of beast of a creature. Still a medium size, again, depending on what actually it turned from. I see no reason why it couldn't be a different size. It has both the rare and uncommon traits, which I thought was a bit odd. Usually they're not together.
That's a new one for us, right?
Yeah, yep. So I wasn't even sure how to interpret that. They could be uncommon. Maybe go uncommon if they're just like made from a random wizard. Maybe they become rare if they're made from like the genius Minotaur who learned teleportation magic because they know mazes. So play with it. They are an aberration, which means occultism becomes the recall knowledge check. Although I think there's an argument for Arcana. I think it's arcane magic a lot of time, teleportation. Why not? Why wouldn't Arcana be on that list? I think that would be totally permissible if you wanted to. Otherwise, look at a perception of 23, speed of 25, still the same despite its strange shape. Languages are the one that I think is totally flexible. It comes with Aklo, Common, and Draconic. They seem to be just plucked out of the air. Aklo is usually attached to aberrations. Draconic, I don't know. Maybe that's what wizards kind of like to do. And learn Draconic, I guess.
Just in their off time.
Yeah, but ultimately, I'm in that camp of like languages they knew in life.
100%.
That makes the most sense. They have low light vision out of the gate, so they're getting a little bit more than say a human might normally have. But maybe it's a bump down, in fact, from something who has dark vision. But I see no reason why you couldn't give this thing dark vision either. I don't think these things are going to overpower this creature. Its attribute modifiers are pretty interesting. It's got a 5 strength, 6 dex, 4 con, 8 intelligence, which stands to reason for sure. 6 wisdom, -1 charisma, which I think is generous. To be honest,
I mean, could you imagine a human pretzel hustling at you at 25 feet a second?
And you just stand there going, "Damn, he's got a handsome face."
Right? Listen,
it's the only thing
the sound of his voice. So songbird of a generation over there.
Ridiculous. But yeah,
this Amalgamite is played by Idris Elba.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how he twisted it into that shape. He must have taken lessons from oh god, it was the guy who did my left foot. The famous Irish guy. Gangs of New York. You were worried about being added. Now I'm gonna be added. I can't think.
Famous Irish guy who was in Gangs of New York. The only person I know in Gangs of New York was Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, that's him. He's Irish.
Oh, I did not know he was Irish.
Damn it. Yeah. Anyway, my joke is now lost, but that's okay. Someone got it along the way, I hope. Yeah, so he gets this creature's get a little boost to skill checks for Arcana, then suddenly into athletics because it is a little bit wily. Occultism as well. Again, I feel like the occultism Arcana thing for recall knowledge is viable. And then it also gets one for a lore, but it's basically any one subcategory of the GM's choosing kind of thing. So again, I think you can kind of lean into the what they had in life, without trying to give them a whole bunch of things. It is a creature you're fighting against a party. You can definitely leave them there. Maybe they have a couple more lores or something like that. 22,
I don't really
42.
feel like lore on NPCs is kind of. I don't think there's any way to OP that.
Mm-hmm. Generally speaking, unless you're really trying to find a way to make this creature like a conversation piece for the party. Like to me, I interpret this whole stat block and this whole creature as you fight it. because it's got a retinue. But maybe there's a way you can eke it in. There's always a way. But I just want to see this thing in combat, so I'm going to lean into it pretty hard here.
Excellent.
The Fortitude of 22 and Reflex of 22, will being higher at 26. It is resistant to bludgeoning 10 and resistant to slashing 10. Resistant to flashing 10. It has no fear when the doorbell rings. But it also has a weakness to piercing 10, which I did mention earlier. There's an element of the core of its body being sort of vulnerable. It is immune to controlled conditions and mental conditions.
Immune to mental.
Immune to mental, yeah. Which is actually not uncommon for some aberrations, especially as we've seen with like flesh warps. But it is not effectively a mindless creature though either. So it's not mindless, but it is immune to mental. So that's a different kind of category in its own.
Because if you've got like this highly intelligent, powerful sorcerer, my first thought is go for the brain.
Right, exactly. But it's not going to work here. It does have regeneration too. Regeneration 10. I said 2, but I meant 10. It is deactivated by piercing, which is a very strange kind of thing. That's not a common kind of combo, I think. Like a physical damage that deactivates a regeneration is kind of I'd say it's quite uncommon. But it's interesting.
Gotta be a balance thing.
Yeah, it's such a core part of the design of this creature that piercing is doing something. And I kind of love it, even if I can't 100% justify it in my own head. My head canon is a little off, but I kind of don't care right now. I don't know why. For this creature, I just don't care because I just love that teleportation magic made this amalgam fuck up. So all rules are out the window, kind of thing. It just doesn't have to make sense, which is kind of fun.
I can justify it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we go back to the image, there isn't much of a torso here.
There really isn't.
So what I'm thinking is that all those organs that you require to live, a regular human being, have just been moved to different places. And the easiest way to destroy an organ isn't through bludgeoning or slashing; it's through piercing. So I think maybe
you just see the tiniest hole.
Coming from.
Yeah, I can see that. Maybe its liver is in its knee. Who knows?
It probably is.
Or maybe they're all in one spot in the center of its mass at all times. Yeah. If you just pierce through, you've hit multiple at once, instead of grazing the edge of one with a slashing attack.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I mean, it doesn't. It's a fucking pretzel man. But
yeah,
makes as much sense as anything else we talk about.
Yeah. And let me tell you, when this pretzel man comes up to you, it'll attack. It'll swing one of those crazy limbs. In fact, it is called a limb attack. It's not even a punch or a slam. It's a limb, which I love. Because sure, this thing's standing on 2 feet in front of us now, but there's a good chance that that foot and that hand could swap. So it's actually kicking you, but not from the leg position. So it's a limb attack.
Just throwing a chicken wing from its thigh.
I think it's a plus 24 to hit, and 3d10 plus 11 bludgeoning. Just for something coming from a random spellcaster, just got amalgamized or whatever. Like 3d10 is pretty awesome. It's also got a ranged attack called Warping Ray. Which is 3d8 plus 8 force damage. Love force damage. So many things that involve force damage and usually can't be, usually it bypasses or it can't be resisted or something like that. This ray also has the deadly 2d8 trait. So if you crit, you're doubling that plus adding 2d8. That's 5d8. Whatever. Also magical 100-foot range. So you aren't avoiding that anytime soon. That's just its offenses. Its main offenses. This is the next thing we're going to talk about is where we get into how interesting it is on the battlefield, and imagine it being surrounded by a crew of creatures that are willing to assist this thing. It has an aura called Destabilizing Field. It's 40 feet out. If you begin your turn in the area, your body starts to feel like it's being stretched. You have to roll a DC 33 Fortitude save or become destabilized. A destabilized creature now gains the destabilizing field out to 10 feet around themselves and are sickened 1. So you've just extended it, possibly, if you're on the edge. It ends if you are no longer sickened. So if you manage to shake off the sickened condition, you're no longer destabilized. A success does also mean that you are immune to all the fields around you for 1 minute. So that's a pretty significant success if you manage it. It's pretty high DC though. It's fairly high anyway.
Just
so
everything about this oozes 40k. Like the taint of the chaos warp.
You're just loving it. Yeah, I can see.
It's crazy. Yeah, I've been really going down 40k rabbit holes lately, so this is real fun for me.
Yeah. This is like
I
I feel like this
questions.
is one of the creatures where I might not trip up in the auras, like I always do.
No.
I would be so honed in on it. I'd be like, oh shit, this is gonna be crazy.
Right. And I would want you to be honed in on this because this is
Yeah.
disgusting. So
gets
is
better.
destabilized its own
gets better.
condition, or is it just specifically in reference to this creature? Do we know?
It's specifically in reference to this creature. Yeah, there is no like separate condition. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is only this. Yeah. So destabilized
really-
means you emit the field and become sickened. Sickened is the condition
Okay.
that you're really properly
Okay.
getting.
I really like that. That's unique to this creature, and
It's
this
cool.
condition fucking sucks.
Yep. Sickened sucks. Sickened is fucked up. Every time
Well,
it's come
not
up, it's
sickened.
fucked up
It's
what's going
sickened,
on. Oh,
plus you can make all of your fucking allies sick. Like,
right. Exactly.
This
But we'll get
sucks.
into that. Okay. Because it's an interesting point because it's not just the party that's vulnerable here. And there's there's gonna be some weird debate at the end here. So let's move on. So that's a passive, that's an aura. Here's the other actions it has. 2 action reposition. This is pretty straightforward. Concentrate, occult, teleportation traits. The Amalgamite teleports into an unoccupied space you can see within 50 feet. 2 actions. That is actually really big because that's a
what?
yeah. That's it can just do that as many times as it wants. Yes, it's 2 actions, but that's like dimension door, however much you want. You know, it's basically at will, but without any of the downsides or repercussions or barriers to cross. You just get to do it, except for the fact that it is teleportation trait. So anything that stops that, such as spells like Dimensional Anchor, could be really significant against this creature.
Right.
There's also an ability called Transpose. I didn't write its whatchamacallthems, traits down. Let me just double check it right now, but I'm pretty sure it's probably quite the same. Yeah. Occult teleportation. So same deal. Stopping teleportation magic of some kind might be pretty significant here. But this transpose is pretty amazing because the Amalgamite chooses up to 2 targets that are currently destabilized. So if you are destabilized, it can target you. And it does have to see you within 50 feet as well. Swaps their positions or moves a single creature to an unoccupied space. So it can just swap 2 destabilized creatures positions, or it can just move you like it moves itself. It can actually, if it chooses 2 creatures, it can choose itself to swap. But the target must be the same size. So again, with size, standardly medium. If you go with a large creature, it does say same size, but I would say size or smaller. Unwilling creatures can attempt a DC will save or DC 33 will save against this. And if it targets 2 creatures that are unwilling, only one of them has to save for the effect to be null and void, which is pretty important.
That's a pretty cool way to mitigate how powerful this ability is, because this is fucking insane. This is a
Crazy
2-action
powerful
double teleport. Like,
and it could just do it all at once. You know,
Yeah.
It's just like there's no limit. Yeah, but you can see now how this thing can put you in a position that is terrifyingly bad. And the fact it could swap you with one of its allies. And if you fail your check and the ally is willing, you're suddenly in the middle of all of its other allies. Sure, it's just put one of his in the middle of yours, but you don't want to be there. You don't want to be
Jesus.
there.
can you imagine how fucking disorienting that would be? In a span of 6 seconds, you cut something twice with your sword, and then you're 50 feet across the room for no reason at all.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
I legitimately, maybe I'll save it for homebrew, but I don't think that this ability is correct. I think it should be more powerful. I think it should probably, if you fail that save, I think you should probably be slowed 1, because that would be so fucking jarring to just bam, you're over there. Okay, next turn you lose an action because you need to recover. Like,
if not slow 1, at least frightened 1. Like, fuck.
Sure.
Yeah. That's fair. I mean, there's a reaction here too that's amazing. It's called Displace. It's triggered by if the Amalgamite itself is hit by a strike specifically, and then the reaction is that it uses either reposition to move itself away or uses Transpose. And if the Transpose is chosen, the success it uses it on itself basically, and another creature. And if it succeeds, they split the damage between the Amalgamite and the target of Transpose. So it could take half damage, and then the other half goes to someone else. It doesn't even have to be the striker. It could be anyone else. Like the fighter could come up and hit this thing. It could react and transpose the healer, swap spots so it's next to the fighter, and then the healer suddenly took half damage from the fighter. Like
could transpose with the creature striking you. Imagine swinging your sword so fast that you hit yourself.
And your target. And you're not facing the wrong way.
Can this be my backup character? Like, this is incredible. I don't even need the level. I'll just run this forever.
It is so good. And it doesn't stop there, because it does have some innate occult spells, but they are perfectly chosen, in my opinion. And I, for the first time, read properly the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Blink, and it is awesome.
Blink is incredible.
It fits the theme of this creature so well, because so Blink is 2-action cast, lasts for a minute, while you are, you basically are blinking but quickly between the material and the ethereal planes. I forget what the ethereal plane is called now, but everyone gets what we're saying. You gain resistance 5 to all damage. If it happens to be heightened, then it would increase the damage. Actually, what level is this cast at? It's casting at 4th, so it's standard casting. It only gets 2 castings to this, but they're a minute, so it can actually do one on itself and then on one of its allies if it wants. You have resistance 5 to all damage except force. You can voluntarily sustain the spell, even though it's not a sustained spell, to vanish and reappear 10 feet in a random direction determined by the GM. The movement does not trigger reactions, so you could just see ya, forget your reactor strike fighter. At the end of your turn, that just happens anyway. You vanish and reappear in the same way. So you can voluntarily make it happen on your turn, or you just wait to the end of your turn and it happens anyway. You're just blipping all over the place. Sure, it's random, and that can be dangerous.
You can sustain, and then if you're in a bad position, you get moved out of it. Like,
that's it. You sustain. You're like, oh, I didn't want to be here. Well, I'll just wait. It's fine. I'll be out of here at the end of my turn anyway. Like, what a cool spell.
3 actions: Warping Ray, Sustain, Blink, Limb, and you're in and you're out. That's incredible.
It is so good. And I don't see anything here that says it can't be cast on someone else. I'm pretty sure it can, but it is not a sustained spell. So it must be available to actually like sustain 2 different castings of this. That's my interpretation. And like, you can be like, okay, I'm going to sustain on myself right now for 1 action, disappear. Okay, I'm in a good spot. My buddies who I casted on as well is in a bad spot. Sustain again, move them. Like, I think that's legitimate. Which is
it reads that way, because there's no target, at least on Archives and Nethys. I don't see a target. And
no, I don't see anything. And to me, that sounds awesome. That seems like such a cool spell. Again, there's a risk with random direction. There always is, but it just fits that the whole idea of this. The battlefield is just, things are just swapping all over the place. Nothing is in the position it should be, and it must be so jarring, just like you said, so jarring. So Blink is amazing. Blink is an amazing spell, an incredible choice for this creature. There's also Ethereal Jaunt, which is a 7th level or 7th rank spell. You basically travel to the ethereal plane, which of course overlaps the material plane, and creatures can't see you, so you effectively disappear. You move through things that are in the material plane. You move half your normal speeds, but you can move in any direction, including up and down. So this is a sustained spell up to a minute. So you can just keep sustaining it and travel around and be totally invisible. So this thing can just wink out of existence, basically, and leave the battlefield covered in people that have destabilizing auras. And then if it finds itself, in a position that it wants to be in, because it can still see everything. Everything's kind of concealed and gray and hazy when you're on the ethereal plane with this spell, but you can still see what's happening. You can still see the battlefield. And you can get yourself in the position you really, really want to be. And then you can just end the spell and be back on the battlefield. So you kind of get almost as much time as you need, given, combats don't go nearly as long as a minute most of the time. So that's just like, again, super on theme, super incredible. They only get one use of that, but it could be, significantly life-saving. If you manage to transpose via react, you get struck, react, transpose, or reposition into a place that's safe, then cast the spell on your turn. You've disappeared, move yourself into an even better position, keep going. It's a great fucking oh shit button, as it were.
Or it's, again, positioning tool. Like, you ethereal jaunt your brawler, sustain, have them just walk into the air, fall onto a target, weapons in hand. The target's knocked prone. Everybody takes falling damage, and you've got 2 weapons, and you're standing on top of them.
That's amazing. Absolutely bonkers. That being said, I'm curious about really now curious about the whether or not you could target another creature, because the next spell does have a target listed that just says one creature. So I wonder if the lack of target implies it's only self.
Yeah, it might.
Which is pretty typical to me.
It might.
Yeah. Might be worth kind of digging into here a little bit as we go. I think I know how to find the info via Foundry. But as I sort of navigate that, I'll talk about this other spell that has one use of it, and that the spell is Warp Mind. And I found a bit of an odd thing in the description of this spell. So it's again a rank 7 spell, 2 actions, range 120 feet, single target, will save, which I presume is 33. That's kind of what it is across the board with this creature. The one of the cool things about it is that regardless of the save, the target is temporarily immune for 10 minutes, but Warp Mind's effect happens instantly, is how it says. And it is so instant that Dispel Magic can't be used against it. And other counteract effects, basically. That's how instant it is. However, you can use Alter Reality, Miracle, Primal Phenomenon, and Wish, which covers the 4 traditions of magic for the basically Wish equivalents, to counteract the effects if you need to. And so the effects are like critical success, unaffected. Success, target spends the first action on its next turn with the confused condition, just the first action. Failure, the target is confused for 1 minute. Critical failure, the target is confused permanently, which you could imagine is why you might need something like Wish.
Okay, I was wondering why Wish and Alter Reality and Miracle are on that fucking list. Like,
exactly, yeah. Like,
what?
Why? Yeah, it's crazy. But here's the thing, though, is I left it out on purpose. The other thing that's listed is Restoration. Restoration is a level 2 spell, but Restoration covers a specific list of conditions and or lessening the stages of a toxin. But it can be heightened as well to add conditions to the options. So it's going to be heightened at level 4 or rank 4 and rank 6. But nowhere does it say anything about the confused condition. It can recover clumsy, enfeebled, and stupefied. You can add to the list at 4th rank the drained to the list, and also start fucking around with doomed. And then at 6th rank, you can get even stronger restoration of doomed from permanent doom conditions. But it doesn't say anything about the confused condition. So, but for some reason, it is specifically listed under Warp Mind as an option. So I'm not sure what the deal with that is. It seems like some strange oversight. I didn't get a chance to actually look at the old internet or Reddit or anything to see if anyone else had caught this, but it
even
seems
the
to be a thing.
CRB to make sure it's been moved over appropriately.
Yeah. Yeah, I should probably pull up that PDF and see what's what.
Yeah, that's a really weird one. That they would throw restoration on there, because again, like you said, it has nothing to do with confusion, because
It's stupefied's on the list, which is very much a mental thing, but they aren't the same thing. They're not the same thing.
Confusion just falls off eventually, right?
Well, it kind of depends. Like stupefied will with long rests, every value is with a long rest or what have you, or every 24 hours or something like that. But confusion usually comes with a static, like this many rounds or a 1 minute or something like that. So what we're really concerned about is the permanent condition, and whether or not restoration can do anything about that, or the 1 minute one at the very least.
Yeah, that's a weird one to throw in there. So I pulled up the confusion spell, and the success is target babbles incoherently and is stunned 1. So there's no confusion condition. So I wonder if that's why restoration's in there, because or at least as the confusion spell, it would be stunned 1 on a success.
No, so confused is the condition. Not confusion is the spell. Confused is the condition. Yeah. Which reads, you don't have your wits about you. You attack wildly. You are flat-footed and don't treat anyone as your ally. Though they might still treat you as theirs. You cannot delay, ready, or use reactions. All your strikes have to be offensive, including cantrips. We've gone through this before with some of the gibbering mouthers and stemming the tide.
Each time you take damage from an attack or spell, you can attempt a DC 11 flat check to recover from your confusion and end the condition.
Mm-hmm. So maybe that is one way to get out of the failure at the 1 minute, but that will not break the permanent, right?
Oh yeah, a rank 2 spell is not going to break.
Yeah. But I mean, ultimately, it doesn't seem to line up at all that restoration would even be a feasible option. So I'm not sure how that's supposed to break down.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, like you said, reduced condition, it's not listed there, but I wonder. Yeah, I don't know. Throw us a comment, listeners, or hit us up in the Discord, or shoot us an email.
Tell us what you think.
Because I don't know. I don't even have a good guess, really.
Yeah. In any case, that's the Amalgamite. That's what it got. It can fuck up your mind. Try to fuck up your mind once, which is kind of fun because it fits right into what happened to it. But otherwise, it is a battlefield controller, loosely controller, in one of the coolest ways ever. That battlefield becomes really jarring. It's imagined adding difficult terrain to that encounter. Imagine having various levels of height, like people standing on things and having high ground, and then really try to imagine what else is with this creature. And that's where my brain was going. It was like, what's the retinue of this creature? And I really got to thinking about the Sickened condition, because that destabilizing field spreading from everyone needs to consider everyone on the field, anyone who is in those auras. And I realized this creature isn't immune to the Sickened condition. Is it immune to its own aura? Doesn't specify. Auras, I can tell you, are emanations. The rules by emanations say that you get to choose whether or not you are affected by your own emanation. So there is that. So it's not sickened by its own field, but is it sickened by the field of someone else that it passed to? Rules is written. I don't think there's an answer. Not that I came across. So it's a little bit debatable, GM discretion. However, even more importantly is if this thing is with a group of creatures and obviously fighting a party of heroes, how many of these creatures are being sickened? And it got me thinking, how many creatures are immune to the sickened condition? James, you will be surprised to know that there aren't nearly as many. I mean, that was a quick search, but undead, not immune to Sickened condition generally. Oozes, apparently not immune to the Sickened condition. I even looked up the Otyug, who is known for eating trash, not immune to the Sickened condition. Most of them are immune to disease, but not the Sickened condition. The only one I could find, because my brain was scrambled at this point. I was like, what's going on here? I messaged our good buddy Cam, and they were like, constructs? And I was like, constructs. They are immune to the Sickened condition, for the most part, as far as I could tell. Again, I did a quick search. I didn't go through the whole goddamn bestiary, but there was no quick way to look up who's immune to Sickened. But it turned out to be very few creatures on the quick search, and I was quite surprised by it, which means that you are really looking at a battlefield filled with people that are Sickened. So everyone's kind of taking this -1 all the time. No one wants it. It's not ideal for anyone, but the likelihood of the majority of the battlefield having it is pretty high, which is a kind of strange balance to look at. That being said, if you were a total sadist of a GM, you could pair this thing up with a bunch of constructs and it could fuck everyone's day up. And there are some really cool constructs out there, like golems, or the clockwork list is amazing. The clockwork construct creatures is so cool. You could really, really, really make this insane. Absolutely insane. But raw, there's a pretty good chance you're making all your own creatures sick as you're doing this. It's really a strange little. I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's an oversight per se, but like it was just something to really consider. Something that you want to like catch beforehand before it becomes a hot topic at the table. You know, everyone starts yelling at each other. But you should be Sickened too. You know.
Yeah. I kind of figured that aura would have the mental trait, and that's how it would be immune.
No, it targets your fortitude, not your will.
Yeah.
Because
so I wonder if maybe
stretching your body like this body's been
just
stretched.
Right. I'd have to do the math and the breakdown, but I wonder if the Sickened condition's just rolled into it, like par-baked into this creature. Like maybe all of its shit is just a 1 lower than what it should be based on the math. Because Paizo has done that before. I think even Wizards have done that before. Just bake that into the character that way. You know, we're as GMs, we're not at the table like, well, the creature's AC is 33, but it's always going to be 32 because of this aura. So why the fuck is the aura 33 on paper? Or why is the AC 33 on paper? Why not just make it 32?
Right.
So, yeah, I'm not going to do the math because it's late in the day and I'm not that smart. But somebody out there could to see if it's just baked in for sure. Because that would make a lot of sense to me. Just baking in Sickened 1 or, you know, Sickened 1 because it's a 10-foot aura that makes creatures Sickened 1 or 40-foot if we're talking about this creature. And Sickened isn't really that bad. I mean, it's bad, but like -1 to your attacks and your saves, like the creatures that exist alongside this thing are going to be fodder anyway. So if you're building what is essentially a mirror party or a dark party, which is probably what you should be doing anytime there's a squishy wizard involved. And I say squishy just because that's the common parlance. 33 AC at level 13 is not fucking squishy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure.
I'm on Archives of Nethys right now and I don't see the uncommon trait. So
okay.
Not related at all, but just
sure.
Looking at
just throwing it out there. I think it was the PDF that I had that pointed it out. Yeah. I wasn't. I was just scrolling through the PDF to find the creature. That's right. So I must have just crossed that over. Yeah, but I'm quite sure it had both, which was strange.
That is weird.
Must be.
I mean, it's possible. Yeah.
Yeah. They must have errated it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I imagine they'll change some stuff with the remaster. Like I imagine reposition will be called something different because that's going to be an action.
Right. Yeah. Point of order too, since we're making a correction, I did actually in that manage to find the target issue, and we were wrong. If it doesn't explicitly list a range, area, or target in the spell, then the spell only affects the caster.
That's what I was afraid of.
We guessed it, but we weren't. Yeah, we weren't really sure, and we kind of I think we went the wrong direction with it. But yeah, so blink is only self, which is a shame. However, it made me think immediately that it's got 2 castings of it, which means that you're going blink first. You can extend that combat so long via ethereal jaunt,
just
because that's also sustained by a minute, and then come back and blink again. Because blink ran out, and just be like, fuck you.
Your whole players would get so pissed off if you made them do 6 turns in initiative order.
Hordes of enemies coming through.
Right. Or the opposite, just 6 turns in initiative order with no enemies coming through.
It's in a way, it sounds like your ideal combat as a player. Just waves of creatures and this one thing blinking in and out, changing everything around, constantly forcing you to change your tactics, and it goes on for 3 in-game minutes, but a whole session, a whole 4-hour session.
This is in the running and like high in the running for my favorite 2E creature so far.
Cool. Yeah.
This is exactly the kind of character that I want to play. This teleporting chaotic energy is what I always strive to build in a character. Like I was not joking when I said I want this to be my backup character, and I am almost positive I'm going to write a one-shot that we will eventually live stream around this creature just so I can play.
So fun. Just so you can fuck with everyone.
This is this mind warping. There's so much room for like flavor a la minute as a GM. Like, okay.
The thing about this creature too is that it's coming with a retinue of allies, and that pretty much means that this is pretty high level encounter. This thing alone is level 13. It's probably coming with a group of creatures that are lower than its level, which means the party is probably somewhere in that realm of 15th level or something like that to make it happen. Maybe even higher if you're actually going wave of enemy after wave of enemy with this thing at its core. Could be really, really wild and difficult encounter, but your high level with lots of bells and whistles could be really interesting. I'd be interesting to see how that encounter, a big wave after wave encounter, is actually balanced out and put out there. Executed is the word I'm looking for. It would be really, really cool.
I mean, just like regular skeletons, a couple of oozes, and this thing in a room would be a CR 15 encounter. Just like 100 skeletons. Run them as minions, just you hit, you kill, you hit, you kill.
I want this thing to come with a Clockwork Mage, which is a CR 9. Clockwork Mages are terrifying. I've considered using homebrewing them into some stuff as I've gone because they're just evocation monsters that are constructs, and they have this crazy thing that work with wands. They're awesome. I just want them to just blow everything up.
I mean, we should legitimately start doing more of that. Just like even if it's not like
we just need to have a combat series. We're like, okay, here's your encounter for the day. Let's go.
Like there doesn't have to be the pretense of an adventure, as much as we like doing it because you and I were creatives at heart. The other people involved in the network, they're all creatives at heart. Otherwise we wouldn't be doing this, but it's not necessary. We could just pop a bunch of iconic 15th level characters onto a board and just here's an amalgam.
That would be fun. Just play the iconics. That would be so fun. Yeah, I'd be super into that. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be the easiest way to do it, I think. That way, like I'm not stuck building a 15th level character that I'm going to fall deeply in love with and play exactly half of the time because I'm going to get killed halfway through the combat.
Yeah. Oh, too good. Well, anyway, I'm with you. I think this is one of the coolest creatures we've ever come across. I remember seeing it randomly one time and thought, oh, that's a cool artwork, but never looked at it. I am so happy with how cool it ended up being. And it just sparks so much imagination on that battlefield. And it's just, I mean, sure, find a way to shoehorn it in your campaign that you actually talk to it, but nah, just make them fight it. It's gonna be awesome.
Like 10th level party, oops, all goblins. Like it's just a horde of goblins and this thing as a goblin.
Oh my god, the chaos!
Each one of the goblins has the aura, and you just vroom, just like this and 20
everywhere.
Goblins. I mean, I would do this like 20 skeletons and probably like 2 G cubes.
Yeah.
And then just take like, why not just run all of my favorite creatures? I don't need the pretense of it making sense.
No, there doesn't need to be any reasonable setup. Just pick the best ones.
I just always want to run skeletons and oozes. So why not just throw this thing on top and just fucking bamf around? Imagine standing like this slow moving gelatinous cube. Like this horde of skeletons runs up. They engage you in melee. Behind it, you see these 2 tank gelatinous cubes just slowly creeping up. And then immediately your fighters changed places with one. Like, what?
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah. Good times. Well, that's all I got. I'm practically burned out from this. This is so fun.
That's fair. Yeah. I'm really glad you covered this one. I'm glad I didn't find this one and you got to present it to me. I had so much fun.
Yeah. What a wild one to just randomly discover. Yeah. Really cool.
Yeah, and if you've got any stories, creatures, like hit us up. Again, you can shoot us an email at info@encounterthis.ca. You can slide into our Discord at unchartednorth.com/Discord. Like we always love hearing creature stories. So if you want to share it, throw it in the comments on the YouTubes. I've started trying to read those.
We don't get many, but we read them.
Yeah. I want to be better about it. So the more we get, the better I can be about it. So yeah. And if you have a creature in your mind that you think is as cool as this or could rival this for the pure chaotic fun, like this is just a fun creature. Everything about this creature is fun, from the lore to at least to me, because I love playing it. Like even in Marvel Snap, I play control decks. Like I love messing with people's plans. It's my favorite thing in the world.
Which reminds me too, like this is like, I meant to say this earlier, but this is, if there is a weird situation with your story and your party in which everyone suddenly feels like, you've made it so far and everyone suddenly feels like they all want to reset in a way, you can do it with this and have kind of shoehorn the wizard into teleporting everyone somewhere and just they all die and this thing forms, and then you can really loop that around into your new story and they come across the old party. Like I wouldn't force it on the party. Never force it onto the group. They're like, oh, you're all dead, blah blah blah, we're resetting, ha ha ha, joke's on you. No one will like that. But if there is a sense of that with everyone, that they're ready for a reset, and you just say, trust me on this, I've got a cool thing in mind, I'm going to do something, it's going to shock you, but I promise it'll come back. And if they trust you and you pull that off, and then they loop around and see that, they are going to lose their minds, and it'll be so cool. So keep that in mind. Yeah, you could have your party facing themselves with this creature. Yeah,
horribly manipulated versions
very
of themselves.
Horribly. In the most
every one of them
gruesome
immune
way.
to the sickened condition somehow.
Bastard.
But if you have something that you think we're going to enjoy just as much as this, you can slide on over to patreon.com/unchartednorth, and for $10 a month, you can suggest a creature that we'll cover. And we get to them pretty quickly. It's usually done within 30 days, released within 60. And they're so much fun to see what other people think is interesting. Because, it sounds like when we present it, you just slide in, you throw us $10 a month and you email us what creature you want us to cover. It's more in depth than that. We talk to you. We want to find out why you want to cover it. We try and figure out if you can be involved in it, like any stories that you have that we can share, why this is the creature you covered. It's not just, I like this creature, here's some money, tell me about this creature that I like. It's, here's some money because I like you guys, but also, like, let's find out about this creature. Let's find out about your experiences, and we will happily, with your permission, and only with your permission, share that kind of stuff on the show. So
We do. We talk to everyone so much. Like every day, we're talking to our listeners and our patrons and tossing ideas back and forth. Like we've had patrons dive in and choose. We have one that chose something from a live stream that they donated to charity, and they won something from us, and then they became a patron and got to choose another creature. So they choose two creatures on Encounter This, and then up their ante and got to create an awesome item in our actual play show. And I still I met this person in person, which was amazing, and I talk to them every day and ask advice and hash out ideas. And like, we're so into this, we're so into what we're doing and enjoying it, and like we don't have a lot of time, but we put so much of our time aside just to like interact and make friends and grow and exchange ideas. It's like, we're doing it for years now. It's so worth it. Yeah. It's so worth it. We don't make any money. No. What we enjoy it. We have so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the more anyone can contribute, the more we're able to put back out there. And that's just what we want to do. We want to keep doing that if we can.
And our listeners have found games through our Discord. I think Cam's running a play-by post in there somewhere.
Yeah, so it's great. They're having a great time.
Yeah. Pop in, have some fun. Throw us your 2 cents. Slide in, fire some shots at me. I don't care. Just come have fun, engage, be part of the community.
Yeah.
Become a denizen of the North. And the Discord is completely free. You don't even have to. All you have to do is wanna hang.
Yeah, pop in, say hi.
Yeah. And if you want to learn more about this episode in particular, you can go to encounterthis.ca, which will bring up the show notes, which is this document that we use to create these episodes, as well as the reading list, which is a little adjunction. So in this episode, we've included that Hyperion, I 100% was going to say collection.
Cantos it was called. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
In my head, it was the Criterion collection.
That's good. Wait a second. I'm getting cross signals here.
If you're an audio listener, you can find visuals and all the images all over on youtube.com/@encounterpod. All of our socials are @unchartedno. They're all around. You can find it in the description of either the podcast or the audio version. If you have time and ability and your platform allows it, please rate, review. Those things really do help us. Lots of people have found us through that kind of stuff. I say lots, but you know what I mean. Really hard metric to measure. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you're feeling antsy, hit that bell, and YouTube might notify you when a new episode goes live. They're kind of 30-70 on sending out push notifications, but
they do it though.
Regardless,
it happens.
Yeah, it does happen.
They are known for it to happen.
Regardless, we're happy to be back. We are so excited for a creature-filled 2024. What a fun creature to jumpstart the year on. And again, we really appreciate you bearing with us while we took January off. Things were
hectic,
a little tight for us,
to say the least. Yeah, both real job wise and us preparing for our episode 100 series on Stemming the Tide, the actual play, which has been a lot of work.
This is the first time you've announced that it's actually a series.
It is a series. It is indeed.
And that will be dropping next month, I believe.
Yeah, it's not going to be a quick 3-parter we drop all at once. It's going to be that's going to be quite the journey.
Yeah, it's fun though. It was so much fun to prep and play.
It was fun.
And we had an absolute blast. But that's in the can now. We're pretty much good to go there. So we get to come back and do this fun show for you guys. So thank you so much. And we will be back again in 2 weeks with episode 117. The Grindylow.
Ooh, it's announced it early.
I know.
See you, listeners.
God, I hope we actually do the Grindylow next.
We promise nothing.
100%. Yeah. All right. Thanks, listeners.
Until next time, creatures, thanks, as always, for listening to Encounter This.